This episode is brought to you by Antennas Direct, makers of the toughest antennas in the universe. Hi, and welcome to the Man Cave Cinema Rant. My name is John Zanetos, and this is episode 67 of the Man Cave Cinema Rant. And today we're not going to be ranting again. Today we're going to be talking about some fun stuff, some retro gaming stuff. Interesting. Okay, here goes. First off, I just want to quickly review two games that I think everybody should have in their Atari 2600 collection, okay? These two games are very impressive games. These two games came out late in the Atari's sort of life cycle, where Atari decided to get smart and spend some time and produce proper games with a little bit better graphics, a little bit better playability. I mean, they're not the titles from the late 70s, and they're not the titles from the early 80s, but these are from the sort of the 83, 84 and on to, I guess, to 89. Probably less than that. You collectors out there and sort of Atari aficionados probably know a little bit more than me, but I'm just spitballing here, so just bear with me, okay? First off, I like to point out is, let's straighten that out. There we go. Whoa. The Atari 2600 game Solaris, which has the cover art for Star Raiders, which is interesting. Anyway, Solaris is a wonderful game with great graphics for the Atari 2600. The way that it displays warp speed when you jump from different sectors to combat the enemies is just fabulous. I love it. I love how they do it. I even like how they've taken sort of not the incompatibilities, but sort of the shortcomings of the Atari 2600 and its memory and just enhanced it. For instance, when the ship is just about to go into light speed, you'll see it split off. And what it does, you'll see each ship has different scan lines on it. So it gives you the effect that it's just being, torn apart and shot through hyperspace, which is a very cool effect for something that's a shortcoming on the Atari system. Second of all, you got to keep your mind and eye on the fuel gauge, where you have to go back to your home planet and refuel, or you can refuel by picking up people on the planet when you go to different planets who want to get rescued. And also, one of the coolest features of it, there's a bonus level, which I can't really describe. You have to get there to see it, and you can really score some high points on there. And second of all, there's Bizarro World, where up is down, and down is up, and left is right, and right is left. And it makes it really difficult and very challenging, but again, a lot of fun. I mean, hitting up that UFO and when it comes after you in Bizarro World is a challenge and a half. And that's what I love about these games, man. It's not like Call of Duty, shoot people in the face. Not that hard to do. This is challenging. This is hard to do. This is fun. So Solaris, pick it up. Whoops. Whatever. Anyway, it's not on our store. We don't have a copy on our store. This is my personal copy. I'm addicted to this, and I love this game. Game number 2. The Atari 2600. I got to learn how to do this better. There we go. Gravitar. Now, a lot of you people out there hate this game because it's so hard. But let me give you a couple of hints, first of all, or some cool, interesting things that I've noticed myself, okay? Gravitar is loosely based on the original Atari arcade game Moonlander. If you guys remember that in the arcade with the big throttle control, where you had to throttle the limb to land on different places on the moon's surface, which was super cool. Now you got to remember, back in those days, this was real physics. They used real physics to emulate gravity. You never really got that in these video games. So they used gravity as an opponent to you, really. Okay? So with Gravitar, there's lots of gravity. So when you enter a planet's orbit and you have to go down and shoot all the turrets that are there that are shooting at you, and there's fuel that you got to go pick up by using your little beam thing. when the gravity's pulling you down, you got to fight the gravity with your thrust. And fighting the gravity with your thrust, you got to maneuver and shoot these things, which makes it very challenging and frustrating. But the frustration is paid off at the end when you clear that level and you get this big achievement of, you know what, I just beat the crap out of this gravity. I got the ships and I thrust it out. It's just that it has a very satisfying end to it, or accomplishment. That's the word I'm looking for. Accomplishment to it. So Gravitar is very cool. I mean, I can only, right now I'm still fighting with it. I can only get past the first level. The second level just is that much harder, especially when you get a lot more turrets, and especially when you got to maneuver your ship through all the rough terrain to get down to the fuel, because every time you use your thrust, you're using fuel. Just like Lunar Lander, but not as punishing as Lunar Lander. There's a lot more fuel in Gravitar, but it allows you to go down, use your thrust bit by bit, just like a real fucking astronaut would do. But anyway, and it's very exciting and very satisfying. That's what I love about Gravitar. I mean, this game I highly, highly suggest. And again, this game came out late in the process of Atari, in the Atari 2600. So the graphics are great. Well, the graphics for Atari 2600 are great. I mean, you can't compare the arcade version, which was vector-based, but this is a very good translation to the game and a lot of fun. And also, if you're a collector, the red one, this is the normal copy. If you got the silver one and you were part of the Atari sort of, what is it, fan group or fan something, you got it. And it's worth a shit ton of money. But anyways, those are... In Canada, that's next to impossible to find because a lot of that stuff is concentrated in the United States. You got to remember, back in the 80s, trade between Canada and the U.S. wasn't that great as it is now. So it was harder to find a lot more stuff. They didn't import as much here in Canada as we wanted to. That's why things are a lot harder to find. A lot of the stuff we have to go through the U.S. Just you guys had more stuff down there. I mean, back in the 80s, you guys had, you know, all the cool cereals like Cocoa Pebbles and stuff like that. We didn't have that here. Nothing. We had to cross-border shop just to get cool cereal and food. See? Anyways, that's it. This is the Man Cave Cinema. This is episode, I got to check again, 67, and we'll talk to you later.